Hey guys, today we're going to learn about surface area. So I had a little brief video, was actually longer than I wanted to, but I did tell you that you could skip through some of it. This should be the next page in your packet, or actually it could be the first page depending on what class you're in. And these notes are going to go into our notebook. So to get us started, you'll notice that we are on standard G for geometry 4. This standard talks about 3D shapes, their nets, and the surface area of those 3D shapes. So in this big rectangular shape, we're going to write the definition of surface area. Surface area is the sum of the areas of each face of a figure. So I'm expecting you to kind of follow along with the video. I will not be posting a picture of this. So just follow along and get this just like if we were in class, except you get to sit in the comfort of your home. Just think, a lot of people don't get to do this. So surface area is the sum of the areas of each face of a figure. Now, if you'll recall, sum means to add. So basically, in finding the surface area, we will use our knowledge of area to find the area of each face, each polygon that makes the shape up. Then we'll add them all together, kind of like a composite figure. That's in fact what the net of this shape looks like. So let's look at the first one together. This shape, as you know, is a triangular prism. Hopefully you said that before I did. We did this and went over it yesterday. I know it's a triangular because it has triangles here and here. And it's a prism because the sides of those are rectangles. SA stands for surface area. That's where we're going to put the answer. My recommendation would be for us to start with the triangles. Now, if you remember from yesterday's lesson, the triangles here are congruent. They are equal to one another. They have the same areas. And one of the biggest things that throw people off with this is, if you recall, to find the area of a triangle, you guys know we have to do base times height divided by 2. A lot of people want to do 5 times 6 divided by 2. But that 6 is not my base nor my height. It's what's called the slant height or the hypotenuse of this right triangle. Okay? So you got to be careful here. Base and height are here. Because this guy's just on the bottom here, I'm probably going to refer to him as the base. And we need to figure out what he is. And if you're paying attention, you happen to have a highlighter, these are the same. So he is 4. He's 4 millimeters. And to prevent myself from getting confused, I'm going to go ahead and write a 4 right there. So in order to find the area of this triangle inside, and there's a ton of space to write inside the triangle, so let's do that. We actually have, and I'm going to turn it sideways, 5 times 4, then divided by 2. You guys already know 5 times 4, the product is 20, and half of that is 10. 10 is the area of this triangle. I'm sorry for all the noise. I'm getting emails, and I forgot to turn my sound off. That's what I get. I'm sorry. And if these two are congruent, then the area of this triangle is also 10. I don't even need to write how I found it because it's all right here. I'm going to slide this up just a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. And now it's time to tackle the rectangles. To find the area of the rectangle, we're going to do base times height or length times width. I do see I have 5 here, and I have to figure out what this is here. So in order to see what the height is, I can keep following all of these parallel lines till I come to this guy, this 4. They are all 4. So this rectangle is a 5 by 4. So we're going to do 5 times 4 to find the area of this rectangle. And the product of that we just did, which is 20. Then we'll move on to the middle rectangle. He is actually a square because I see his base is 4 and I know that this side is also 4. So he is a 4 by 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And then the last rectangle we have is a 6 by 4. So we have 6 times 4, the product of that being 24. And if you guys remember from our notes that we did before this, when we shaded in our triangular prism, I did not color in these because I told you it's possible they're all 3 different. This triangle, not only is it a right triangle, but it is a scalene, meaning all sides are different lengths. That's why all of my rectangles have different dimensions. So now that I have every single area, I'm just going to add them all together to find the total area. Just like we did with our composite figures. So when I add all these together, surely you've already figured out that it is 80 millimeters squared because we're talking about area. So we get 80. And I'm going to go back up here to where it says surface area and put 80 millimeters squared. We are still talking about area. They are squared. Don't forget that. Okay, well let's move on to number 2. Ignore some of this noise. I'm just removing things and shifting them here on my little makeshift desk to make room for all of this. This shape has a base that is a 6 by 5. Therefore, it is a rectangular, all sides triangles, pyramid. When working with a rectangular pyramid or any pyramid, I would recommend to start with the base and then work my way around the sides. I see that the base is a 5 by 6, and to kind of get me started so I don't get too confused, I'm going to take my highlighter and I'm going to highlight where this 5 is and what it represents, the base of this triangle. Because if you remember from the previous notes, going back to them, it looks like since this is a rectangle, this triangle and his counterpart right across from him are congruent. They are the same size. These are both 5. And his height is going to be 9 as well. That's a 9, not a 6. And again, since it's a rectangle and this is 6, this is also 6. These are both 6. So both of these triangles are congruent with one another, and they are 6 by 7. So that's going to help us realize what we need to do. So we just need to find the area of this triangle, and then basically copy it for this one. They're the same. Find the area of this triangle, and again copy it for this one over here. The formula again for finding area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. But I did tell you guys we're going to do the square first or the rectangle. I apologize. So it's base times height. So we got to find the product of 6 and 5, which you should know is 30. Now we can move on to those triangles. So let's just start with the top one and the bottom one. We've got 5 by 9. So we've got to do the product of 5 and 9. Then take half of it or divide it by 2. The product of 5 and 9 is 45. Now if you don't know what half of 45 is, that's fine. You guys can use a calculator. If you don't have one at home, you can actually open a new tab and you can type calculator into your search bar and it will pull one up for you to use. It's just kind of a pain to use the one that's given there. So the area here is 22.5. So 22.5. And if this guy's 22.5, so is the other triangle that is congruent to him, is equal to him. Remember, congruent means equal. Getting those mathematical terms in there. Now let's look at the other two triangles. Again, we have base times height divided by 2. Our base is 6. Our height is 7. So the product of 6 and 7, then divided by 2. The product of these is 42. And we take half of that, which is 21. And since this one is congruent, he is also 21. And the last thing to do is add up the area of every single one of these polygons that make this shape. And then we'll have our final surface area. If you are doing this by hand and not using a calculator, I commend you. You are awesome. But don't forget to line up those decimals or you're going to find yourself in a whole heap of trouble. So when you add these up, you will determine that you actually get 117. So the final surface area of this rectangular pyramid is 117 centimeters squared. Now these notes are 2 pages. This is the front side of the page. So what I'm going to do with this page is I'm now going to trim it and I'm going to paste it on the next page of my notebook. I would like for you guys to do the same, and the topic is surface area. And then in the next video I'm going to do surface area part 2 and go to the next page. Notice that this is in its 3D form. Okay? So I'm going to make that a different video, alright?